Luca can't forget that first impact with Zen meditation. The sense of relief he had experienced, however slight, had crept into his mind like a small light at the end of a dark tunnel. However, the road to serenity turned out to be less linear than he had hoped. The practice of Zen required discipline, patience, and an ability to stay with the present that, for someone used to running non-stop, seemed almost impossible. Curious to find out how Luca will be able to find balance despite the difficulties. Continue reading and let his story inspire you. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories of personal growth. In the days that followed, life resumed its frenetic pace, and Luca found himself once again entangled in his old habits. Work sucked him in with its usual intensity, and every day seemed to repeat itself like an endless spiral. Meetings, deadlines, goals to achieve. Despite the progress in meditation, the anxiety was still there, a constant presence. Sometimes, it was less overwhelming, but other times, especially during the most critical moments, it seemed ready to explode, like a volcano beneath the surface. One day, while Luca was preparing a particularly important presentation, he received an unexpected call. It was his boss, Stefano, a man known for his ruthless pragmatism and insatiable thirst for results. Stefano had always been a paragon of efficiency and success, but his insistence on impossible standards had made Luca's life a living hell. "You have to do more," was his favorite phrase, as if enough didn't exist in his vocabulary. Have you ever found yourself in a similar situation? Leave a comment and share your experience of dealing with pressure at work. "Luca, I need you to present at the conference on Friday," Stefano said, without room for reply. It was a momentous opportunity, but also a source of enormous pressure. Luca felt his heart beat faster, anxiety starting to mount, like an old enemy awakening from sleep. The mere thought of failing in front of an audience of experts paralyzed him. He couldn't afford another mistake, not after his latest mishap during the presentation. He decided to return to the Zen Center, not only to find some peace, but also to seek answers. The Zen master greeted him as always with a serene smile, but this time, Luca felt that the simple act of meditating would not be enough. "I can't get rid of this anxiety," he confessed to the master, frustration creeping into his voice. "I meditate. I try to let go, but every time I face a new challenge, the anxiety comes back." Try introducing meditation into your daily life. You might discover unexpected benefits. Sign up to not miss our tips on how to get started. The master looked at him in silence for a moment, then said, "Luca, the practice is not to eliminate anxiety, but to learn to walk with it. Your anxiety is not the enemy. It is a part of you that you must accept, not reject." Those words struck him like a bolt of lightning. All his life, Luca had tried to escape anxiety, to fight it, to ignore it. But what did it really mean to accept it? What did it mean to live with that feeling he hated so much? As the master spoke, Luca began to see things in a new light. Perhaps anxiety was not just an obstacle to overcome, but an opportunity to grow, to learn about himself. The day of the conference came faster than Luca would have liked. He found himself in front of an audience of hundreds of people, the blinding lights, the attentive faces, and that usual tightness in his chest that accompanied him like an old friend. But this time, instead of trying to push it away, he decided to accept it. He breathed deeply, closed his eyes for a moment, and remembered the words of the master. When he opened his eyes, the anxiety was still there, but there was also a new sensation, a sense of peace in knowing that he didn't have to fight it. The presentation wasn't perfect. Luca stammered a couple of times, lost his train of thought, but managed to recover without panic. For the first time, he felt that his value was not tied to his performance. The audience applauded him anyway, and Stefano, albeit with his usual coldness, nodded his approval. If you too are trying to improve your anxiety management, share with us in the comments which strategies have helped you the most. But that wasn't the real victory. The real victory was the realization that, even in the midst of chaos, Luca had found a glimmer of balance. As time passed, Luca began to notice changes outside of work. His personal relationships, which he had neglected for years, began to blossom again. His relationship with Sarah, his partner, had been strained by his relentless pursuit of perfection. She had tried to stay close to him, but the wall Luca had built around himself had kept her at a distance. After that presentation, Luca began to talk to her more, to share his fears, and Sarah, with her gentle patience, helped him see things from a different perspective. One day, while they were walking together in the park, Sarah told him about an episode she had never told him. She too had suffered from performance anxiety years before when she worked as a dance teacher. The fear of not being good enough, of not being able to meet expectations, had pushed her to abandon her career. But unlike Luca, she had not found a way out. Sarah's words struck Luca deeply. He had never known how much his partner had suffered in silence. That conversation ignited a new determination in Luca. If he had managed to find a path to serenity, he could help Sarah too. So, one evening he invited her to the Zen Center, where the master welcomed her with the same kindness with which he had welcomed him. Sarah began her journey, discovering that anxiety was not an enemy, but a teacher who showed her her vulnerabilities. Over time, she too found a new balance, and together they began to build a more serene life, made of small shared moments, without the need to be perfect. Sign up now to continue following Luca and Sarah's journey towards a more serene life. But Luca's story didn't end there. During one of the last sessions at the Zen Center, the master confided in him that he too, in the past, had suffered from anxiety. An unexpected revelation that struck Luca deeply. The master, that man so calm and wise, who seemed to have found absolute peace, had known the demon of anxiety. "Even the calmest river has a rushing source," said the master, leaving Luca to reflect on those words. The most profound revelations can come from the most unexpected places. Follow our channel for more stories that transform the way we see ourselves. That realization transformed him forever. He understood that anxiety is not something to be eliminated, but a flow to be observed, to be moved through. There would never be a day when he would stop feeling it completely, but he knew that with practice and awareness, he could live with it without letting it overwhelm him. He began to spread what he had learned in his work environment. He organized short meditation sessions for his colleagues, starting with a few, but soon attracting the attention of many. He discovered that he was not the only one who felt overwhelmed by expectations, and that perhaps, precisely through the acceptance of one's own fragility, one could find a new form of strength. Luca was no longer the same man. He had not changed the outside world, but he had changed the way he lived it, and that was the real revolution. Do you also feel inspired by Luca's story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and share in the comments how you transformed your life.